What's going on, everybody? Coach Bronson here. It is Tuesday evening, not Monday evening. We made a little switch. This is the first Tuesday evening live that I'm doing on YouTube because I realized that I was bumping into Dr. Barry's time. And I want you guys to get as much of Dr. Barry as possible. And there's no reason to try to jam both of us in together. So we're talking. Hey, Lisa, how you doing? Lisa, you're the first one. You win the prize. I don't know what the prize is, but you win it. The first one to comment. Today, we're going to talk about taking your fitness to the next level. And when I talk about taking your fitness to the next level, what I'm talking about is improving your ability to do things. So things that you can do, 5 things that you can do to improve the activities, the knowledge, whatever it is that we need to address to help you get moving and help you improve your body's ability to function. Okay. Just remember, thank you very much, Kelly. I appreciate that. Just remember, guys, whenever we talk about fitness, okay, we talk about exercise. We're not talking about going to the gym and lifting weights. That may be part of it for some people. That may not be part of it for other people. What we're talking about, the definition of fitness is the ability of your body to do things. That's really it. That's as simple as I can make it. Okay. So the things that we can do, we have to start where you are now. What can you do now? And the answer to that question is going to be absolutely different for every individual person. Okay. So that brings us to the very first thing that you can do to help improve your body to function. Okay. You ready? The first thing that you can do is ask questions. What? It's not even a workout. It's not even an exercise. All you have to do is ask questions. Okay. Here's the deal. The biggest wall, the biggest block that a lot of people have to getting started with fitness is the fear of the unknown, the fear of not knowing what to do, the fear of doing it wrong, the fear of not knowing what movements to do, how to do them. Should I use weight? Should I do body weight? Should I do cardio? Should I do resistance training? Should I do HIIT? Should I do CrossFit? Should I do bar? Should I do Peloton? Like all of these things, the unknown. Okay. We're not trained. We're not trained. The normal person is not educated in what the requirements of physical training are and the things that go into fitness training. Okay. We're not cavemen. We're not forced to train our fitness just for through survival. We have to do it externally to our daily activities, and we're not trained how to do that. So the unknown is what keeps people from getting started. The only way to combat fear is with knowledge. It's not, that's it, guys. The more you educate yourself, the more you ask questions, and don't be afraid to ask questions. There's no such thing as a dumb question. Okay. I've spent my career as a coach answering questions. That's what I'm here for. The very definition of a coach is someone who's going to answer questions and help you move forward. So ask questions. If you don't know what exercises you can do, if you don't know what options there are in a movement, if you don't know what program you need to join, if you don't know how you need to eat, all of those things, right? The ability to ask a question and take the answer and then try to follow that advice is huge, guys. As a coach, okay, and I'll explain to you why this is number one on the list for me. Because it's actually not just asking questions. There's 2 parts that go into this, and I want you to really think about this. Asking questions is 1. Following the directions is 2. Following through with the information that you get is where the magic happens. I don't know how many times over the years people have paid me money for advice, for coaching, for personal training, whatever it is, nutrition coaching, health coaching, all sorts of things, and then don't do what I recommend that they do. And then they get upset when nothing happens. Okay. If you're going to come to a coach, if you're going to come to an expert and ask for advice, you have to do something with that information. Okay. Now, granted, you may not do it right away. It may take you some time for it to sink in, for you to be ready to take that step. But at some point, you have to take action. So asking questions is the first step. Okay. The first thing you need to do is ask questions. It's okay to ask questions. That's what we're here for. That's why we built a community. Okay. Thank you again, Kelly. I appreciate it. Uh, the community is here because all of you together are going through similar things. So if you have a question, there is no judgment. There's no I'm better than you because I've been doing this for 3 months and you just started, right? That doesn't exist. We're all going through this together. We're all looking for the same support, and we're all wanting to give that support because we know that the more we give to the community, the more the community gives back to us. So asking questions is part of that engagement, part of that interaction. Okay. As well as asking coach and asking people that are professionals in what you can do. Okay. So if you're not sure what you need to do, all you got to do is ask. Okay. That's why you'll hear me say after every weekly workout video, you hear me say it all the time. If you have any questions, just ask, because that's what it's all about. All right. Enough on that one. Ask questions is number one. Number two, when you're actually doing your work, there's a couple things I want you to think about. Okay. There's three things. The next three things kind of go in together. And that is really how you approach the work that you're doing whenever you do something for your fitness. Okay. If you're going to do a full workout program, if you're just going to get up and down off the couch 5 times a day and then work up to 10 times a day, whatever it is, okay, make sure you're focusing on technique above anything else. I don't care how many times you do it. I don't care how fast you do it. If you throw weight on and you do it with a lot of weight, if you're not doing it properly, you're not training your body for real life situations. Okay. What happens when we don't move properly, when we don't learn how to use it to do moving properly? There's a couple things that happen. We are training our body to do it improperly. So that means the more times you do it wrong, the more times your body has to compensate and do things differently than it wants to. And that's where we get long-term injury and chronic issues. Okay. That's where chronic pain comes from. And then that's where that chronic pain, I can't talk today, that chronic pain and those chronic issues of imbalances and compensation lead to acute injury, where you blow out your knee, you blow out your back, you blow out your shoulder, you throw out your neck, whatever it may be. Okay. Because you've been doing something wrong over and over and over again. The way you move is more important than anything else. Okay. Move properly first, then you can worry about going harder, going faster, going heavier. Okay. Whatever you're doing, make sure you're doing it well. We call it virtuosity, doing something well, right? If you ever look at a dancer, you look at a ballerina or a gymnast, okay? The things that they're doing are super difficult, like really hard. If you've ever tried to even just do a basic leg kick, right? You fall over trying to do that, okay? The way that they do that and how beautiful that they make those movements look is what we call virtuosity. They have mastered the technique of the movement so that when it's difficult and they're trying to execute it under pressure, it looks easy, right? We need that in our everyday life, our activities of daily living. Thank you, Nurse Cindy, for giving me that phrase. I'd never heard it before. Activities of daily living. That is a fantastic way to describe what fitness is all about. Things that you do every day, get good at doing them. Okay. It will help you live longer. It will help you stay away from injury and all that jazz. Okay. So ask questions, focus on technique. The second thing, when you're doing work, make sure that you scale things appropriately. Scaling exercise, scaling movements, scaling things that you're doing in a workout to fit you. Okay. Everybody's different. Like I talked about at the beginning, you have a different background, a different experience, a different level of fitness, whatever it may be. Maybe you have an injury, you have bad knees, bad shoulders, right? Whatever it is, you're not going to be able to do the same thing as everybody else. Okay. If you take the Apex functional training system, right? If you take the Apex system, the functional fitness program that we've got running, we have a ton of people in there, right? We have people that have bad shoulders. We have people that have bad knees. People that may get hurt somewhere along the way. Maybe something happens during the week and they get hurt and they're like, hey, what do I do for this exercise? The ability to modify and the willingness to ask questions about what modifications are available is what makes you and your program become one and work to better your quality of life. Okay. The program that you're doing must be something that allows for modifications and has those options available, and you have to be willing to do them. A lot of times our ego gets in the way. We feel like, oh, I can just do it. A little pain isn't, no pain, no gain, all that kind of stuff. Not a thing, guys. The no pain, no gain thing, you just got to throw that away and forget all about that. Okay. We don't want pain. Your workout should be challenging but enjoyable. You should feel good after a workout, not beat up after a workout. Okay. If you finish a workout and you feel like you got run over by a truck, okay. Now, initially you may feel that way because your heart's pumping, you're sweating, you're out of breath, but I'm talking about soreness and aches and pains and things like that. If you feel just worn down after a workout, then something's wrong and you need to modify something and scale it appropriate. Okay. Scaling, the definition of scaling is to modify an exercise or a movement so that the person can execute that movement and get the required result from the exercise. Okay. So if I'm doing something and as a coach, I program push-ups. Push-ups is something that I want you to, it's going to work your shoulders, it's going to work your chest, it's going to work your core. Okay. Help you keep your body tight. And if you have to scale that, then the scale for that is to put your hands on a bench, put your hands on a couch, put your hands on the wall. So you can maintain the position. You can still work your chest and your shoulders and your core, but you still get the challenge based on where you are. It's still doable. I want things to be doable for you. And that is what scaling is all about. Okay. So you have to be willing to scale. Okay. And as you can see, everything goes back to the top. When we focus on technique, if you don't know what the technique is, ask. When we talk about scaling, if you're not sure what the scaling or modification is, go back to the top and ask again. Okay. Ask questions is kind of the key to all of it. Okay. As well as the third thing, okay, and that is making sure that the work you're doing in your exercise, whatever exercise it is challenging. Okay. There's two ways to look at this. One, if you're in my programs, you're going to see every workout, I give you an estimated level of effort. This is like a 80% effort exercise. This is something I want you to go 100% and just put everything into it. Okay. I give you some kind of guidelines and I try to give you some idea of how you should be approaching the workout based on the stimulus, based on the result I want you to have, the type of training I want you to get out of that workout. Because remember, we vary things back and forth. Sometimes it's hard and fast. Sometimes it's light and slow. Okay. Or short and or long and slow. So things vary, right? We want to get that hybrid metabolic training. We want to train multiple things over the period of each week. If you are not hitting the target of the workout, then you're not getting the full benefit of the program. So if there is a workout that says work at this percentage of effort or this percentage of weight or whatever it is, if there's a note in there that says you should be able to do 5 reps of this movement and you can do 8 reps of that movement, then you're not using enough weight. Okay. If there's something that says, and it goes the other way, if there's something that says you should be able to do 5 reps of this movement and you can only do 3, then you're using too much weight. Okay. You need to adjust to try and match what the prescription of the workout is so you stay within the target of the workout. Every workout has a goal. And if you just make up your own thing and do your own thing through the workout and say, okay, well, it says this, but I'm going to do this instead, I'll just do the same movement, then you're missing the puzzle pieces that make that whole program work together. Okay. So that's one thing. The other thing is you need to push yourself. Okay. For many of you, this is new. You've not done this before and you don't know how far you can actually go. And that's perfectly fine. The idea of progressive overload, the idea of you need to do a little bit more each time to see improvement. I want you to think about that. And I want you to think about, I've been doing this workout or I've been walking for the last 3 months. Okay. After 3 months of walking consistently, maybe you're walking the same amount of time or miles or whatever it may be. At some point, you need to challenge yourself and do more. Doing the same thing is not going to make you get better. Okay. In order to progress, you have to push the envelope. And that means it's going to be uncomfortable, guys. It needs to be uncomfortable. It needs to be uncomfortable in your own control. Training is experiencing the stresses of life in an environment that you can control, so that when you get to real life and it's not controlled, you won't get hurt and you'll be able to perform. Okay. That's why we exercise. That's why we do fitness, because in order to be able to function in everyday life and do those activities of daily living, we have to provide that stress, right? In a way that we can control. So we can push as much as we need to during training. And then when something happens in the real life, we're ready for it because we've already done it. We've chosen to give ourselves that challenge. So when the challenge chooses us, we're ready to handle it. Okay. That's how I want you to look at exercise and training, guys. You choose the challenge that you want to attack and get good at, so that when the challenge tries to choose you, you're already ready for it. I've been there, done that, no big deal. Okay. That's what this is all about. All right. And then the fifth thing that makes it all come together. Okay. Be consistent. It doesn't matter. All of these things don't matter a lick if you only do them one time a week. If you do it 3 times a week, 1 week, and then you don't do it the next week or the next week, and then you do it 5 times the next week, if you're not consistent, it doesn't matter. You've got to keep going. Find a pattern, find a rhythm, set aside some time. And we've talked about before, even if you don't always do the whole workout, just make sure you're consistently showing up and doing what you can. There's going to be some days where you come in and you feel like, oh my gosh, I'm doing this whole thing. This is amazing. And there's going to be sometimes you come in and you feel like, you know what, just doing a warm up, just stretching is enough for me today. That's fine. As long as you show up and do it. And then you show up the next day and you do it. And then you show up the next day and you do it. Then you're going to see progress. You're going to be able to do a little bit more each day. Okay. If anybody has any questions, like we talked about, guys, I love having this live because I see all these chats. I see Lisa, what are you talking about? I'm having shoulder surgery next month. What should I do to get ready for that? Okay. Getting ready for shoulder surgery. 1, take care of your shoulder. 2, get a lot of sleep, eat a lot of protein. 2 big things. Do whatever you can do to reduce your stress before and after the surgery. Okay. Those are the 2 biggest things you can probably do. All right. Let's see. Asking about bands. Would that work as good as weights? Yes, bands are fantastic. If you have bands, use them as often as possible. Eventually, you will probably want to graduate from bands to some dumbbells or kettlebells or something. But bands, you can do a whole lot with bands, Lisa. You can do a whole lot with bands. Okay. Let's see if we got any other questions. I see Terry's on. Terry, what's going on? Rhonda, how you doing, Rhonda? Susan B, what's up? Let's see. Does anybody have any questions about any of this stuff, right? We talk about make sure to ask questions. Asking questions is huge. Have a beginner's mindset and be open to recommendations. Ask questions and partake in the community. Focusing on technique. Make sure that you're doing things as correctly as possible because you get more muscle activation. You get better training for your joints and your brain on how to make those movements happen. You reduce your risk of injury. Okay. You just get a general better result from the work that you do when you do exercise. Scale appropriately. Make sure that you make modifications as needed for you. And if you don't know what those modifications are, just ask. Okay. Jan, what about older adults? Nothing changes for older adults. Okay. We might have this might be another topic. Listen, guys, the idea that when you're old, you have to do things differently is completely just okay. The only thing that changes with age is that you need to do it more. Really. Okay. Have not been doing something, the older you are, the more important it is that you start doing something now. Okay. The same principles apply. Move well, ask questions. Sorry, start with the beginning. Ask questions, move well. Okay. Scale appropriately. Your modifications will be different. That's really the only thing that changes. You may be starting at a different place than somebody else, but you still need to start. You can still do squats. You can still do deadlift or hinging. You can still do lunges. Just a variation that may work for where you are until you can do them at a higher level of intensity or complexity. Okay. There is absolutely no change in these things, in these processes for people that are older. I don't care if you're 90 years old, you can follow these processes and still see improvement in your health and fitness and quality of life. Okay. Does that answer your question, Jan? I hope. Teresa, I'm really sad about your asthma. I hope that gets taken care of pretty soon. All right, guys, if there's no other questions, that will be it for tonight. Thank you for joining. Please share this out. Let other people know that this is going to happen every night, Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Okay. And as always, if you have questions, post them in here. There's in the comments. Post them. If you're not a member of the Facebook group, go join the Facebook group, Apex Health and Fitness on Facebook. If you're already a member, thank you for being a member. If you know someone that's not a member, share this with them and ask them to be a member. Invite them to the group. Okay. Remember that they answer all the questions. Then, oh, Rhonda, I just saw your thing. I was about to leave and I didn't see your question, Rhonda. Examples for using resistance bands while at work. Oh my goodness. Rhonda, you just gave me a whole video to do. I got to write that one down. Hold on. I'm going to write it down right now. Sitting and workout. Okay. I don't know when I'll get to that, but I just wrote it on my whiteboard. See, wrote it on my whiteboard. Sitting band workout. Okay. And I will get to a video on that. There's so many options there that there's no way I could go over all of that in this live. But Rhonda, keep an eye out. If you go to actually, you know what? If you go to the YouTube channel that I have the exercise library, exercise and movement library. If you search for bands, resistance bands or bands, there will be a ton of videos that pop up. Most of those can be done in any situation, at home, at office, at your desk, whatever it may be. So that might be a good place to start, Rhonda, but I'll see about putting something together and add this to my list. Cool. All right, guys, like I was saying, if you know somebody who's not subscribed to my channel or if you know somebody who's not in the group, please ask them to subscribe, get them into the group, and let's grow this thing. All right, take it easy. Don't forget, every Friday, a new video is put out as a premiere. So this week, I don't remember which one it is. I forget what I'm talking about, but there's a chat that I'm talking about different things. And I hope to see you guys there. There's a live chat on that we can talk to. So take it easy, guys. Have a good rest of the week. Thanks for joining.